Is your cheese drippy, bruh? Skibbity toilet, Ohio. Ohio. Skibbity.
You saw that stumble? That was my same exact reaction when a middle schooler had the audacity to come up to me and say those nonsense words. After living in America for 10 years and speaking English for 10 years, I was shocked. I thought that I was falling behind. I thought that I just heard words from another language. What did these words even mean? So, of course, being the young and kind gentleman that I am, I went up to this middle schooler and went, "What were you talking about? What are you talking about?" I got my answer. He knew what he was talking about, or at least he thought. The term that he was speaking in, however, was called brain rot. A term coined by Oxford Dictionary, which mentions in 2025, January of this year, that brain rot is the most used, searched up, and the most atrocious word of 2024. Okay, I may have made up the last part. However, it still is the most looked up and most used word of 2024. But what exactly is this whole concept? And is it really as atrocious as I think it is? After truly talking to this kid and understanding what he had to say, the answer might shock you. So first, today, let's talk about what really this skibbity toilet riz is. Then, let's talk about how brain rot, this term, may not be so Ohio or bad. Then, finally, let's see how this skibbity toilet riz talk in our generation may just be the key of curing depression. See, when I first talked to this kid, I had no clue what brain rot was. Mind you, I live under a rock. See, brain rot is a common term which came up by Oxford Dictionary again, and it is used to define one simple concept: pop culture within Gen Z. See, when I was talking to this kid and I asked him what these terms mean, he first told me that skibbity toilet, he didn't know what it meant. But when I asked him about Riz, he told me that it meant, well, pickup lines and other stuff. When I asked him about, is your cheese drippy, brah, he said that it was by Logan Paul, a YouTuber who had came up with Lunchly, a very, very popular Lunchable-like brand amongst adolescents in our era. Now, these words may sound gibberish to many people. However, this was a way for him to connect with other individuals of his age. Meaning, brain rot may not be as different as what other individuals think. See, the references to pop cultures have been around for generations. For example, if you're talking and having a conversation with millennials, you'll likely encounter them talking about Legally Blonde, Harry Potter, or both. The common misconception about brain rot is that it is bad. However, believe it or not, every single individual within every single generation uses so-called brain rot, as it's simply defined by Oxford Dictionary as references to pop culture within the Gen Z era. Meaning brain rot, as much as millennials and of course Gen X may express it to be bad, it may not be so bad. According to Oxford News article, we find that brain rot is defined as bad simply because it derives from increased amounts of screen time. Now, according to the World Health Organization, we see that teenagers spend more than 7 hours on their phone. Ridiculous, right? Now, what I'm astonished is that the World Health Organization addressed this. Yeah, I get how that's not funny. But it is a serious topic. the fact that these individuals spend countless amounts of times clicking on their phone. However, Harvard News article finds that this may not be as bad as we make it. See, when we talk about words in brain rot, we simplify things, meaning that individuals of Gen Z who haven't reached adulthood yet are able to talk about concepts which were unimaginable to talk about in the past. These even include concepts such as rape. P. Diddy, a famous rapper, was just defamed because of rape. Now, individuals across social media platforms who are in fact Gen Zers have made fun of this. But not only this, publicly shamed P. Diddy for what he did wrong, and therefore understood that this, of course, was a bad thing. Meaning concepts which children were not expected to talk about in previous generations are now addressed simply because brain rot allows for these individuals to make connections with each other. Imagine this. If a millennial walks up to another millennial and is having a simple conversation, and they bring up topics about their childhood in order to connect with them. Childhood, concepts such as words from Harry Potter or scenes from Legally Blonde. They make a connection which allows these two individuals to have a meaningful conversation with each other. Talking in brain rot has the same effect by allowing two individuals of one generation to talk to each other. But let's go into this into more detail. See, we know that screen time is bad. However, screen time allows for brain rot, which allows for connection. However, Harvard News article finds something much, much more significant. In Gen X, the generation before Gen Z and Gen Alpha, we see a suicide rate increase from Gen Millennials to Gen X only by 40%. However, the suicide rates from Gen X to Gen Z increased by more than 70%. Keep in mind, Gen Z hasn't even reached adulthood yet. These are individuals who are teenagers. What's more than that is that the World Health Organization reports that more than 80% of Gen Z students have reported that they have faced depression countless times. What's so shocking about this statistic is that these individuals often stated that talking to another individual was what truly got them out of this situation. And Harvard News article continues to defend brain rot because of this one simple statistic, which is so important. The fact that this middle schooler had the audacity to come up to me, a high schooler with a full-grown beard and 6 feet height. This kid was trying to make a connection. He was trying to make a new friend. Brain rot, as we see it, is simply not so bad because it allows for this connection to occur within two individuals of one generation that allows both parties to not only talk about concepts unimaginable, but concepts within themselves. Talk about how they feel. We've seen brain rot throughout our lives, with whether we believe it or not. And for my older audience, you're welcome. You're gonna need it. Because if you don't know what Skibbity Toilet and Ohio Riz is by now, oh, trust me, it'll reach Facebook in a few days, but until then, you're gonna hear your kids talk about it the whole time. Because the truth of the matter is simple. Though screen time may have increased, within our generation, brain rot might not be so bad. Simply because it allows connections between two individuals as stated by Harvard News article, but on top of this, allows our generation to talk about concepts unimaginable and understand what's truly wrong and build a better society. So today, the next time you hear this brain rot lingo, I want you to think and smile because of one simple fact. Those kids might just be helping society right now. Thank you.